Hi, everyone. It is me, Sailor Venus, Sailor V, Sailor Hellish World, Mina here. And today, and today we're going to talk about, you know, what was there a falling out between the elderly Niall Golding's business and the Toei business over how the Sailor Starlights were handled, or how anything in Sailor Moon was handled. Now, folks are going to say, oh, it happened. But if you go on the interwebs, there need be no truth to it. And a lot of folks will say, oh, it's true. Well, was it or was it not? First off, let's talk about freedoms. First off, the Toei business had a lot of freedoms when it came to making Sailor Moon into a drawing show. And there really wasn't any way that they could make the draw that they could take freedoms with what they did with it. And if the Adley Now Golding's business, which by the way has no website, just telling you that right now, and if they were all right with everything that they did, why would they not be all right with the fifth? You know, folks are going to say that Naoko Takeuchi and the Toei business didn't stand on how the Sailor Starlights were handled. Well, if that was true, there wasn't any falling out. Folks are going to say, yeah, there was, but I don't think there was. And if there was, well, the two sides are working together again by 2003 YL and forwards, with PGSM, the Sailor Moon Life Sailor Moon show. And there were plays and song shows that were still going on all that time up into then. So neither side didn't have a falling out at all. Now, at the end of the day, a lot of folks are going to say, "Oh, that's why the 24 between drawing show is like the book." Yeah, in some ways it was, but they also took some freedoms in that as well. And at the end of the day, I can't think that someone would be unhappy with how things were handled. And some folks would think, well, wouldn't the elderly Niall Golding's business, elderly Niall Golding's business be irked or angered with how the Walt Disney business and Deep Glee and later on Pioneer Glee handled Sailor Moon? No, because they really didn't have any say in what was going on with that one. Because Toei was the one who worked out the deal with those two, with those three, with how to do Sailor Moon Do. So, no, I don't think they would have been. And to tell you the truth, the Oddly Now Golding's business didn't get set up to Nibi some years later. And it has no website. Now, at the end of the day, the only truth that the other businesses around is on the tags of any dolls or any books or anything, saying Double Right, Toei business, Aldeling Niall Golding's business, Naoko Takeuchi. That's the only way to know that the business is even around. Now, a lot of folks will say that one business has more sway than the other. Well, I don't know. I would like to think that the Toei business and those who own it have the main ownership of Sailor Moon, and oddly now Golding's business has the other half of the other half of ownership of it. But who has more sway over the dealings of things, the handling of things, your guess is as good as mine. Now, there's going to be those in the Sailor Moon followership who are going to say something without, they will say that, oh, you didn't go on and do any learning before you made this film. Because there really isn't any learning. The Adling Now Golding's business doesn't have a website at all. So there isn't any way to learn anything about that business. So yeah, you can't, and there isn't WIS out there. Or if there are, well, I haven't come across them talking about Aldley now Golding's business and the Toei business not getting along when it came to how they wanted the drawing shows and the drawing films and the plays and the song plays and the song shows and the film games and all that good shit being handled. So your guess is good of mine. Over that. And a lot of folks will say, oh, but Aldley now Golding's business has the crafting run. Yeah, they might have crafting slay, but that doesn't give you full might and slay over everything, which leads us into knowing that the Toei business has the main ownership of it. So, but we're not talking about who has ownership and who has slay with that ownership. We're talking about, did one business have a falling out with another business, and there isn't really anything on the interweb to back it up that there was a fight, or there was a shift of beliefs, or there was a breakaway due to crafting on likenesses, as some folks call it. And I don't really think there was. If both sides were unhappy of how Sailor Stars was handled, well, there wasn't really much they could do about that. And a lot of folks like to look at Hearst 1, 2, and 3 and Forever and Stars and say that it was more offshooted more from the books than the first one did. And yes, that is true in some ways. Hearst 1, 2, and 3 and Forever and Stars did borrow a lot more and stick more near to the books than the other drawing show did. But there were some freedoms taken. There were some things that were shifted around a little. But I wouldn't know where to look to see any of that. But I guess it would be there. And I don't really think that two sides that have been working together for years was like, oh, we're happy. Well, Sailor Moon old, RSSS, but oh, I'm not happy with how Sailor Stars was because you didn't make the Sailor Starlights be the same way they were in the book. And keep in mind, when Toei was making the drawing show and Naoko Takeuchi was writing and drawing all the likenesses for the books, neither side didn't know what the other side was doing. So there was no way for one side to say, oh, yeah, well, it wasn't like they were both working at the same time. One was doing things way ahead of the other one. So there was no way for them to know how she wanted Jordan, Julian, and Dustin to be handled in her books and how they handled them in the drawing show. So, yeah, I don't really think that they would get upset over that or about them not following the oversight. Only girls or women can be sailor fighters. Because let's be earnest, that oversight should be broken and was broken. Well, that's just my thought on that. Hope you like this film, and I'll see you later.